Hi guys, welcome back to my kitchen. I just want to teach you guys another New Orleans original, our baked macaroni and cheese. So here's our ingredient list. So I got my milk, my favorite cheese that I like to use. Some people like to use Velveeta, but these are the ones I'm using, in my pasta. So we're going to start off by boiling our water for our pasta. So this is the reason why I call this New Orleans mac and cheese. I didn't know that everybody didn't use the spaghetti noodles, that everybody used the elbow noodles in other regions of the world. But in New Orleans, we like to use the spaghetti noodles. Most of the time, we use the noodles that we have on pack. And we like to make yaki meat and other things, and they use this type of pasta, like our Cajun pasta, everything use this type of noodles. So most of the time, we have these noodles on hand. So that's why we're using it. So if you have the elbow noodles on hand, then use the elbow noodles. Just read your pack and do as your pack say. Don't forget to salt your water. So my trick with using the long spaghetti is to not break them, to put them in the water whole so they cook down real nice and even. But what I do is when I put it in the pot, as you guys can see, it softens in that boiled water. So I boil the water first and put my salt in, of course, and then I put my spaghetti noodles in there. So as I put my spaghetti noodles, when my noodles touch the water, they soften up. So I start moving them around and try to put all of them in the hot water at the same time. As you guys can see, I grab tongs because this water is really hot and I don't want to burn myself. So I tried as much as I can by hand, and then I took the tongs and started mixing them around. So I'm going to cook these noodles to the al dente. So that's about 5 to 8 minutes. As you guys, I'm going to show you the texture right here. This is the texture I'm going for. See, it's not cooked all the way through because I'm going to bake it and it's going to cook more in the bake. So I just want to teach you guys a new way to strain it. I know you guys seen this spaghetti straining hack a couple of times, but if you guys see it again, then maybe you might use it. So I just got my strainer and I have my hot pot. I'm not going to pour that hot water into the strainer because you guys remember there's always that steam that comes back. I'm going to put the strainer inside of it and strain it out. You guys can see that? Ooh, and that steam's not messing with my nails, it's not messing with me. And I'm going to take that and put that back into the strainer. I'm only doing that because I'm about to use this pot over again. So now I'm going to make my sauce. I am going to melt butter, as you guys can see. This isn't the real butter. This is the vegetable oil butter. So you guys going to see it's going to have a little more grease to it than butter would, which is fine. The only thing difference is that when we add the milk, we're going to make sure that we mix that milk up really, really good. So I put a stick of butter. And I'm going to put about half of my container of milk. So this is a pint of milk. I'm going to use half of that pint. And I'm going to mix that in real good to try to incorporate that vegetable oil spread, butter, and that milk to it. So I'm going to mix it up real good. As I mix it up, my pot is on a low to medium heat because I do want to get my milk hot so that when I add my cheese, it starts to melt that cheese really good. So I'm going to add almost my full pack. I'm going to add my full pack that I have because you guys remember I had 2 packs. So I'm going to add that full pack and half of that second pack. And then I'm going to use that second pack, the rest of the second pack, to layer it on the top. This is not going to take long, you guys. We're just going to make sure that that milk isn't boiling. We just want to make sure that milk is hot enough to melt the cheese. So as we add the cheese to it, as you guys can see, I'm going to add the rest. And I'm just going to mix it in with my whisk. And you guys can see that cheese is starting to melt and make a good creamy cheese sauce. If you boil it too long or if you boil it too high, then your cheese and milk will start to seize. And that's what makes that thick, crunchy, bubbly, grainy texture to your milk. And you don't want that. So I'm also going to season it. I'm seasoning mine with salt, cayenne pepper, and some other things. You can season it what you want and how much you want. Just make sure that as you're seasoning it, you're tasting it. So after I finish seasoning, now I'm going to add the rest of the cheese. Remember I told you guys I'm using the full pack of the first one and then half a pack of the second one. So I'm going to add the second half, mix it up really good. Once I get the cheese melted really fine, I take my container that I'm going to bake my mac and cheese in, and I put my spaghetti noodles in that container. And then I pour the cheese on top, the melted cheese on top, and I mix it up really good. Once I mix it up really good, then I take and put a little razzle dazzle of the rest of that cheese on top of that, and I bake it. So I'm actually putting this on broil. I put it on a high broil for about 5 minutes or until it becomes the color that you want it to become. And here's my delicious New Orleans mac and cheese. Thank you guys for listening. Please subscribe, like, and there's a bell that you can press that every time I make videos, it's going to let you know that I made a new video. Alrighty, thanks for getting munched out with me. Please follow me on Instagram and Facebook and tag at munched out if you do use this recipe. Mwah.